And then, okay, so this is teacher assistant, Build Yourself teacher assistant TA training session number 5 on Wednesday, June 7th. All right, so let's cut right to the chase. The agenda for today is we want to practice presenting presentations and critique them. In that spirit, let me start with, first of all, I want to thank everyone for doing their assignments and submitting them. It's very interesting to see your different perspectives. I just wanted to comment on Yilen's elevator pitch. I think she has the basis for a really good, short, meaty elevator pitch. And I wanted to comment on the language, sort of fine-tuning our language. So first of all, Yilen says, strives to inspire. I think in a selling environment, I've read or been told that when you say something like, we will try to do this, or we hope to do this, that's not as convincing as we do this. So I think we should, it's modest and maybe more polite to say we try to do this, but I think in a sales environment, it's more effective if you say we do it. So I just made a couple of grammatical changes here to make this more of an assertive statement. And then the other comment I've heard many people say from top US universities, that's true. To me, I'm going to err on the modest side here. To me, that's a little bit presumptuous and egotistical or elitist. I think it would be better for us to say well-known universities rather than top US universities. And these universities can be all over the world, not just US universities. And then finally, I just wanted to say in red, the Build Yourself program is based on MIT Technology and Education Research paper, Beyond Black Boxes. Just so for your own information, this was a National Science Foundation research paper done at the MIT Media Lab. And you can Google it, and it's really a very, very interesting philosophy of education. And we try to base all of our important decisions on this paper. We were a part of this research paper. Okay, so that's my critique of an elevator pitch. I hope that was helpful. I welcome your critiques too, especially your critiques to my critiques. Any thoughts about being assertive when we say we're going to do something or we do something, and then modest when we talk about who we are? Okay, Sisha, you.
I think it's pretty good, but I appreciate modest spirit, but not too modest.
Well put. We have to find the right balance between coming off as confident, we know we can do this, and coming off as modest. We don't want to tell people it's our way or the highway, our way or no way. We want to make people feel we're modest and we want to listen to what they have to say. Okay. Good point, Sisha. Any other inputs, philosophical inputs to, how we should talk about Build It Yourself and how we should, the culture that we want to establish?
No,
Okay.
I like the more assertive language in the beginning. I think
Mhm.
that's useful in selling.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I think like it's important to like it kind of seems like overthinking it sometimes, but like the specifics of the words can be pretty important.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, I went through a sales training program at General Electric, and they were quite, particular about this. Don't say you're going to try to do something when you sell. We'll say it's.
Oh yeah, that's the point.
Yeah.
I've heard the same words.
Yeah. Okay. Good. um, okay. Brent, Sisha, do you want to guide the rest of? Do you want to take a cut, Sisha, at presenting introduction to Build It Yourself, and Julian, Brent, and I will critique your your presentation.
I'd like to present my own lab book, maybe.
Sure. Okay.
in a
Let's
second.
do that. Yep. Let's do that. So let me stop sharing the screen. Yeah, this session is going to be devoted to role playing. One person will pretend to be the teacher, and then the rest of us will be the students and the critiquers. Are you?
Sorry, just give me a minute. My computer is slow.
Okay. Well, Julian, if you want to queue up anything you'd like to, get critiqued while we're waiting for Sisha, just pick one of the PowerPoints and
Sure. Give me a second.
queue it up.
Okay.
I've got my lab book ready whenever, so.
Okay. Okay, we can start with Julia and Sisha if your computer is slow. Oh, there we go. Great. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, I use Google Doc because.
Can we stop at this slide right here, Sisha? No, the second slide. So Sisha.
Just the notes.
Right.
Yeah.
But your file naming convention is potential trouble. So, Julian, maybe you can add more light to this. My experience is that dots in file naming in file names can be a potential problem. Some dots are illegal in some operating systems. Is that true?
Yeah, it is, but she's just putting hyphens and a .html at the end. It should be .ppt, but.
Right. The dot ppt, but I think we have to be very careful not to put dots in our file names, Sisha.
I think where the intro for Build It Yourself, I mean, maybe it's even time to edit that, but I think it references web development more specifically when it talks about folder structure.
Yeah.
So I think right in that intro it says .htm, and I think Sisha may have just thought she was supposed to add that in,
Okay.
followed it more literally.
I'm a little bit confused about the HTML.
Right.
First.
Okay. So the idea is this should be BIY and then 06, 0618. 06 for June, the second 06 is the day, and then 18 is the year. That's our typical date convention. And if we name our files like this, then when we have 100, when we're searching our computer, we can just say the date, and all of the files at this particular date will sort themselves out. Or our files will all sort in very logical ways in a file folder.
Okay.
So that's the goal here, is to be able to make all of our students' files sort automatically in a hierarchical manner, or in a hierarchical manner according to the way we would most normally search for them. So file naming conventions especially when we start to work on big projects or have many students. File naming conventions are critical. Otherwise, we have a rat's nest when we try to find things or sort things.
Okay.
Julian, from your perspective as a computer science major, any input or guidelines you'd like to suggest with respect to improving our file, our file naming conventions?
Yeah, something like source control or whatever would be a bit overkill for this, but
Yeah.
Putting the school and the date so everything sorts together is fine. Alternatively, it could be like, have like a good like folder system. Probably helps more than just having a bunch of files all together.
Yeah.
So like if it's like a shared network, like files or whatever, you can just make like a new folder for each day and maybe have them all saved in there. Still keep some of the file naming convention, but just make it a little easier to handle.
Right. The case, Julian, is that these files will come from many schools or even homes, and they'll be emailed to us. They'll be sent all different kinds of ways. So I don't think we can count on. I mean, at the source computer, at the computer that's storing the files, we should certainly have a very good folder structure. But I think still the file naming convention is critical.
Oh, okay, yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, you're right on that count then.
The files are coming from all over the world, and so we need to make sure that there's a consistency in the file naming convention so that we can put them in the right folders.
Julian, you just gave me an idea when you were talking about a good folder structure. And I'm going to throw this out there. It's more of an application solution versus just like a manual solution.
Mm-hmm.
What if we built an application, like a form, where people put their name, there's a drop down with a list of schools, like basically just they fill in a few fields, and then they upload their PowerPoint file, and then when it uploads, it will automatically rename the file based on the information they input and all their other supporting files, and they just get logged automatically. And then we can even link to them as examples within the mission pages, like. Because if it's handled externally and indexed.
I love that concept, Brent.
Yeah. And then we don't have to look through different people's emails or remember to get them from a flash drive. Just at the end of a week, everyone go to buildityourself.com/upload.
Yeah.
Send your PowerPoint to this. And then it's automatically on the website and everything.
Yeah. I love that concept in terms of streamlining and automating our administration. I think
obviously it takes time.
Well, I mean, we have to build the application, but that's what we're trying to do here is automate our processes, streamline our processes.
It really shouldn't take that much time. It doesn't seem like something impossible. Just
it's very doable. It's a fairly simple application. The only caution flag I'd make is that we still want to insist that students know how to name their files. So we can name them for them automatically, but I think also in our lesson plans we should say file naming is very important.
Well, yeah, I think they don't have to know it renames it automatically. We'll never tell them that. We'll still enforce, good techniques, but I just think as much as we enforce it, I mean, we still have to walk around the room and say, hey, even by Wednesday, we're like, you made a new PowerPoint for some reason, and that's not right.
Yeah. Brent, let's take this offline out of the training session. But I think your idea is brilliant, and we should definitely incorporate it. So let's put this as a subject offline.
Gotcha.
Okay. Who'd like to go first, Sisha or Julian, on presenting their lab book?
I think I could go first.
Okay. Oh, you're already. I'm sorry.
You're
right. I'm sorry. What was I thinking? Sorry, Sisha. Go ahead.
Quick question. Sorry, I'm not a computer person, so I'm a little bit confused. When should I put HTML and when should I put this PPTX at the end of the file name?
It depends on what the file is, Sisha. If you're making a web page, it's typically HTML. If you're making a PowerPoint, it's PPT or PPTX. PPTX is the latest PowerPoint version. The problem here is we don't want uppercase characters. And the reason for that is that some operating systems interpret upper and lower cases, Unix and Linux in particular, and other operating systems like Windows, they don't care whether it's upper or lower case. So when you're doing a website and you mix upper and lower cases, it may play on one operating system, but your links will break on another operating system. So we
Oh,
just
okay.
insist on everything being lowercase.
Okay.
Julian, anything to add to that from your perspective as a MIT CS major?
Nope, that sounds about right.
Okay,
Okay.
good. So
One tip is with Google Docs, I'm pretty sure you don't need to add the .pptx in the
Yeah,
file name.
yeah.
And then when you download it, if you export it, it will automatically add those extensions for you.
Yeah, you can see my file name is so weird here.
oh, I see the problem. You're using Google Docs. That's why you told me that before. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Okay.
Sisha, when you get to Boston, we're going to buy Microsoft Office for you so we can use the official version of PowerPoint.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So that's my Minecraft. Sorry, this.
That's a cool take on it.
Yeah, it should have some animation, and this picture will show up first, and I will ask the student, do you know who he is, and what's his story like? Maybe some brief introduction, and the scenario.
Pretend we're the students. And yeah. Okay. So
Okay.
the question is, do we know who this guy is? He looks cool, but I have no idea who he is.
Yeah, and the problem is after he destroyed his home, Titan, the largest moon of Saturn, people from there are seeking for your help to rebuild their civilization. And those are the introduction from the Earth's civilization. We have I just copied the words from the template.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't want to read it. So the mission is help our friends to build a laboratory because they want to catch up the technology level, and they can like defend their defend enemies and beat up the bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's the mission.
Okay. Okay. Shall we critique slide by slide?
Yeah.
Brent, Julian, do you want to take a first cut or shall I?
Well, according to the lore, Thanos is the last Titan, so nobody else is left to help rebuild the civilization.
Okay.
It really doesn't matter at all. I just.
We
Oh,
can
it does
send
matter. Sorry, go ahead.
people to that moon and help them rebuild the civilization.
Okay.
Fine, it really is fine. It's just.
But wait a second. I think kids are going to nail us on this. Many kids will know the history of these people very well. So I think the game history or a game culture, we should come across as we know exactly who these characters are. And what you're saying is that in this game, this is the only guy left in the universe. Is that what you're saying, Julian?
No, it's the Marvel movie Infinity War. So he kind of ended up like he's the last person left from his home planet right now.
I see. So there's no one left to rebuild.
Right. Maybe, but the thing is, he's been like in the movie, he goes on like a rampage and destroys a lot of planets. So maybe you could be like someone from some other planet got destroyed, or like had a lot of the population gone, and now they need help.
Okay. So the point here, when we tell stories, I think we should tell stories that are reflect the reality of history or the reality of a Marvel movie, and not try to. It will confuse kids, maybe. So I think
Okay.
we should be true to history for sure, and we should even be true to Pixar or Marvel folklore.
Okay. I think the people from Titan, some of them are like escaped from the destroying and escaped to other planet.
Yeah. The,
Yes.
the original storyline here that we had was based on Japanese
Yeah.
fairy tales or Japanese storylines, and it's the Amaterasu.
Yes. The
Um,
sun god, I think.
yeah, sun god, right? And they've built this amazing civilization, and another civilization is jealous, so they come and steal all their stuff. And so therefore, we have to help the Amaterasu protect their libraries and their amazing machines by building, defense mechanisms, traps and arrows that shoot at them when people come in. So that was the original storyline for Minecraft.
Yeah, but
And
I want like more interaction with children. So actually, I want the children to tell me the story. So
oh, so each project could be different, you're saying, based on what the kids decide is the problem in the mission?
yeah, and I can guide like the outline of the story. So that's my thought.
Okay. We could have up to 12 or even 15 kids in a class. So if we let the kids decide what the problem and mission is, number one, we're probably going to spend a lot of time coming to some agreement between 15 kids.
Oh no, I think the story the story is well known, so there shouldn't be like different version of the story.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So we should present what the problem and mission is, what the storyline is. We shouldn't rely on kids to tell us what the storyline is.
Okay.
Is that right? Is that what you're saying? We want to present, this is the problem and this is the mission. We shouldn't, in each project, let kids decide what the problem and the mission is.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, I don't think we can do that because when we're in the brochure, we state what the problem and the mission is. So kids sign up for the course based on the problem and the mission that we promote in our scheduling, on our scheduling page or on the brochure page.
The other critique I have of if they did write their own is dependent on what they wrote. Like if you gave them a scenario, there's empty land you need to build. What's the backstory?
Right.
There's a good chance they'll write a story that will take them a different path than the activities you have planned for the week
Yeah.
in the lesson plan.
Right.
And if you have like 5 groups or 3 groups or something doing 3 different projects, even if they're all in Minecraft in the same world, one might be thinking about an alien coming back to fight them, or like a superhero, supervillain coming back to fight them, and they have to create weapons. And because their storyline was slightly different, versus they're trying to create a peaceful, happy, new civilization, and just things might slide slowly.
Yeah.
And by
And
Thursday,
our worlds might need to be different. Instead of a flat, barren land, we need to start with a different world. So yeah, I think we have to control the problem and mission for each project. We can't we can let the kids describe the problem and the mission in their own words, but it has to reflect the lesson plan as Brent suggested, and it has to reflect all the parts, tools, supplies, and worlds we've set up before the class starts.
now on a positive note, when I read it, it sounded really cool and exciting.
Yeah.
And I think it might even, I mean, not that we would change anything now, but I think this mythology may be more popular and recognizable than the one we chose,
Yes.
and that might engage kids better. So on
Yeah.
on the positive note, I think what you wrote is really cool, and maybe it's cooler than what we had.
Absolutely, Brett. Thank you for saying that. This guy is much more recognizable, apparently, from a movie and Marvel mythology than the Amaterasu, which is, some very obscure ancient civilization or sun god, right? Um,
Got it. Okay.
okay, great. So using popular culture in our storylines is
Yeah.
better than using maybe ancient mythology that no one knows about.
Okay. So that's my thoughts. So,
Okay, cool. You want to go on to present your lab book mission? Okay.
John, it's a picture of you in your lab.
All right, I take that as a compliment.
it's this picture is more cute than already one. So
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
Um,
So should I give the way to Julian?
well, okay. Do you want to present the problem and the mission for Soapbox Racers, and then
Okay.
um,
Okay.
and then we'll move on to Julian.
Um.
And pretend we're the kids and just present. Here's, excite us. This is, one of your first opportunities, Sisha, to get kids excited. At first impression. If we don't make a good first impression, it's going to take a long, long time to recover.
Okay. So hi kids. Today the problem we are meeting is our cars has eaten up most of the carbon resource on Earth and give back dirty gas, filling up our air. You can see from the picture. The smoke is weird and doesn't smell good. So the mission is to build a clear air mobile like this little girl here. I think that's all. So
Okay,
these are all my notes.
great.
How to
Let's go back to the problem mission of racers. So I love this. I like this a lot because it's simple. It's just a few words right away. I get it. In one slide, I know what I'm going to be doing for the next week. And I love the example. It's a real world example. I'm going to build something like this. Whoa, give me the tools. I want to start right now.
Yeah.
And the dirty air picture. It's really it's like the stop sign. I immediately get it.
Yes.
In 5 seconds, I know what you're trying to say here.
My
critique. Mhm.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I agree with everything John said. I think the slide itself is great. I think the info on it and the imagery support it. My one suggestion would be, rather than telling the kids that the exhaust of a vehicle smells bad, is making pollution, you have a good probability of finding at least one of those kids who was standing behind an old pickup truck that drove by once that smelled horrible. And you could maybe present a question. Have any of you guys ever smelt a car that just smelled so horrible you couldn't even breathe and made you cough?
Oh,
And then they'll be like, yeah, or just get them to relate to something. Find a way to make it relatable, and just like ask a question or two, and then lead into the problem.
excellent, excellent. Brent, one of our missions here is to get kids to interact, not just sit back and listen. So asking a question is a great trick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good.
And starting by asking a question, starting the whole session, and that particular question is great, Brent. Great idea.
Have you guys ever seen the movie Inception? I think it is, where they drop the dreams into, like, the hints within dreams.
No,
No.
Inception. Mhm.
I think that's the name of it.
I have seen the movie. That is what it is. Yeah.
Okay. So Inception is a movie where there's a group of people who enter your dream and they're trying to like convince you that an idea is your own.
Cool.
And like sometimes they have to go into multiple levels of dreams.
Uh-huh.
The reason I mention it, in case any of the other workshop leaders watching this recording have seen it, think of this like Inception. We want the kids to understand something, but we want them to think they came up with it. So by asking them questions that we can kind of guide them to give us the answers. I mean, granted, they could say no. I never smelt that, and then you have to, on your feet, think of another example of something that smells bad that you can compare a car to. But the more they think they're leading the workshop or they're telling you their story, the more excited they'll be about the problem and the mission, and subconsciously it will be in their brain that they have more ownership of it. That's my take on it.
Great. Great discussion. Yeah. Great ideas, Brent, and cool. Julian, any comments on the slide, on this slide?
No, I think it's pretty good. I agree with
Could you go back to
perception strategy.
Okay, great. Sisha, could you go back to the slide? Now, I'm not an artist. I'm an artist maybe in my dreams, but I'm surely not, trained as an artist. But I've heard these comments made about slide design. So it's usually good to try to get objects in a design to line up, because your eye typically goes from one object to another object to another object. So here, I would put the problem so it lines up with the top of the image. Yep, thank you, Brent. Exactly, Brent. Thank you. So especially in advertising design, objects should line up. And the other thing I would say is that very often in advertisements, you'll see the copy is not maximum contrast. You have black and white, which is maximum contrast, and that's even better. I love that. See how much more organized that looks, Sisha?
Okay.
Yep. The other thing is I would try to use shades, not black and white. White is fine for a background, but if you use white as a background, I would use a shade of gray for your text. It's a little bit easier on your eyes. So if you're reading black on white for a long, long time, your eyes will get tired. If you're reading gray on white,
you mean change the background to the gray?
You could do that. You could change the background to gray, or you could change the text copy to gray. I would, if you look at Apple advertisements, you'll see that almost never do they use black on white. It's always some shade of gray on white.
Okay.
Julian, any comment on this with respect to UI courses you've taken?
I have not taken a UI course, actually. So
Oh, okay. All right, great. But you've probably noticed this in game design graphics.
I have. Usually white on black is, more than anything, it's like the kind of more boring side of things. So typically more fun to spice it up. Yeah,
either spice it up or make it a little easier on your eyes to read, a little more subtle. Okay.
I think always remember the target audience, and I think the only time black and white on each other look nice for text is when you hit like the elderly market, only because of eye strain in larger fonts. That's what I've noticed in like marketing materials. Larger text, higher contrast for the older generation. Younger people, the subtle, like slightly less contrast works well, basically from anyone down.
Great. Okay. So these are really picky points, but I think there's value in discussing this. We're not only teachers, but we're developers. We want to synchronize on our file naming convention. We want to synchronize on design. We want everyone's designs, everyone's PowerPoints to look like they came from Build It Yourself and to look professional, to reflect what artists and designers have established over the years as good design.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. I don't mean to be overly picky. I think you get.
It's okay. I appreciate that.
Yeah, great. Okay. Julian, do you want to take the next cut here and
Present the PowerPoint.
yeah, anything that you want. If you want to present one of the actual PowerPoints, like introduction to build it yourself, or
Sure.
three problem solving, five problem solving tricks. If you
I kind
wanna-
of just have everything condensed into my lab book. But
Okay.
Wait a second here.
One of the things you will do as a webcast teacher, Julian, is, present the actual PowerPoints.
I
So
see.
at some point, we want to critique how you would present the PowerPoint.
Let me share screen. Here we go. You can see it.
Yep.
All right, so just taking it from the top.
Okay.
So the problem in this case is that the ancient civilization of the Amaterasu people have been devastated after a long chain of attacks and disasters, and unfortunately they need a new place to live because the situation is mostly unlivable over here. Unfortunately, they're the descendants of the gods, and as a result have become very, very picky. They only want the absolute finest in architecture, and nobody else wants to even try to build them a new home because they probably won't like it.
Cool. Okay. Want to do the mission and then we'll critique?
Sure. Our plan, though, is to impress them with our own creations. Because if we make a bunch of big, bold, and way cool buildings, they'll actually pay top dollar for them, and then we can be very successful. Unfortunately, it won't be easy because they really want things that stand out. So we're going to have to, first of all, find inspiration in the real world. Then we're going to have to figure out some way to plan out our construction and have something develop so we don't just build crazy things that don't go anywhere. And then finally, we're going to have to bring it to life in Minecraft. That
Cool.
sounds like a plan.
Cool. Very cool. Okay. May I ask, Julian, is this Minecraft picture something you built or you clipped it off of Google?
I clipped it off of Google.
Yeah.
I built something like this at some point, but it was on a multiplayer server and it's all lost to the ages.
Oh, okay. It's you should feel licensed to, put something you've built whenever you have a chance. That will really impress kids. Okay, Sisha and Brent, do you like to take a cut at critiquing what Julian did?
Sure.
What do you like about it, and what could be better?
Okay, what I like, especially because you're a workshop leader, with the mission, you inserted our philosophy of what we're going to do before we build into it pretty seamlessly, which I haven't really seen people do before, but it kind of makes sense if our mission kind of outlines the research and the other phases. So it's, to me, that will psychologically make a kid more prepared to research and design before they construct and develop. And when we just say the mission is to build and then we go into research, there might be a small subtle disconnect. So I think this is interesting. I think I like that you made it a little original. Basically that they're picky because they're descendants of the gods, and it doesn't deviate too much from the more basic storyline. My only thing I would think is, John, how critical are we about calling it the mission versus the plan? I mean, they're kind of the same, but do you want it to have like a problem mission? Is that like something corporate almost? That
Yeah.
I see.
Well,
I'm just curious.
Good point. I like mission because it sounds more computer game like. I like mission better than project or plan. That's just because from a sales point of view or from a product design point of view, you know this from Invention Universe, Julian, we're trying to make Build It Yourself as computer game-like as possible. Because we've observed that kids really get into something when they think they're playing a computer game. When they are, or they think they're playing a computer game. So
Are we
missions,
flexible on it though? Like, your quest or something might sound game-like still, or do we want to
quest,
keep
yep.
it consistent?
The quest. I love the quest. Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah. One thing I know about Build It Yourself being here for a while is sometimes I don't understand why things are a certain way, but I've learned to ask instead of assume now because there's been so many times I'm like, John, that doesn't make sense. And then he like tells me a high level perspective, and like even PowerPoint versus other slide editing softwares is just because it's like parents of that generation that love PowerPoint and it makes sense to
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
And like I think take the bull by the horns. I know John says a lot, and like I think that's like almost like corporate meeting lingo. So I wasn't sure if mission. So it's not that, but making it game like I guess is the criteria. So that makes sense.
yeah.
Right, right. I see what you mean.
Yeah. So that's a very good critique, Brent. Sisha, can you go back to the problem slide, Julian?
Yeah, just a sec.
Great. Sisha, do you have any thoughts? What do you like and what do you think could be better?
I think Julia's presentation is pretty attractive, but the question is, I don't know if I am right. Why should we use all uppercase
Very good.
like letter?
Very good critique.
Like, yeah, it's like you emphasize something too much, or
Yeah. Sisha, excellent critique. So I have heard in font design that it's okay to use uppercase for a title, but in paragraph text, there's more information in lowercase letters, and therefore it's easier to read. So that's the logic for using lowercase letters. In a title, it's short, so uppercase is okay, and it emphasizes the title. But the text should be upper lowercase for sure.
Okay.
Does that make sense, Julian?
The sci-fi font that I was using automatically put everything into uppercase. I'm pretty sure if I just go over here and like
Yeah.
make it like, I don't know. Whoops, that's the wrong one. Let's see.
But great. Very, very good
Something like
comment, Tisha. Yeah, great.
And the rest of it's still going to be like that, but I see what you mean. Good point.
Great. Theoretically, I think it's easier to read lowercase. It's quicker to read lowercase than uppercase when you have paragraph text. Very good point. Other points, Sisha? You said you liked, yeah.
the other things is I don't know if the purple is like I don't like the purple and the yellow like but
I've heard you say that before.
Personal issues, but
Okay, from a design perspective, purple and yellow signify something to you that it makes you uncomfortable. Very interesting. It's hard to find a color combination that will work for everyone. Even Apple's color combination is gonna be obnoxious to some people. But
I'm sorry, just like the personal.
no,
that's valid.
This is very useful. I mean, we want to be open to everyone's perspective.
What about orange? Orange and purple are like Linux, right?
I'll give that a shot.
I know orange is close to yellow, but is that different enough? Or
yeah, I think.
See, what I was going for was like something like this. Like you got the whole like pink background and like cool starry things.
Yeah.
Yellow doesn't really fit into that. I see, but
yeah.
Some of those instrumental trap beats I listen to have a lot of those as the thumbnails.
Exactly.
I dig it.
Like this, I suppose.
One thing I can give is some feedback from having done graphic design for a while, like freelance. I had a lot of clients that they were more like the mom and pop level, but I had clients from very diverse backgrounds, including people from Peru, people from Haiti, so forth, Pakistan. And what I've noticed was the color palettes they strongly advise sometimes as a United States graphic designer made me want to vomit. But when I look up the graphic design styles of their country, it is basically the standard. You know, like in Haitian design, like green and red are common, but to me it just screams out Christmas. And I think in the United States, anyone would think Christmas, you know, mainstream. And then there's just all the different design styles. I
Right.
think it's going to be impossible to make a design that would resonate with everyone, especially when we go abroad.
Mhm.
But I think as long as we have like clean enough to read the text and it pops off the background and stuff, I think legibility and organization of the content is more important than the design style itself when it
Mhm.
comes down to what other people build. Only because, you know, when we have people internationally, it's
Yeah.
going to be harder to appease everyone.
Right. Right.
Hmm.
Cool. Couple of comments strike me. One, Julian, I'm a big fan of the way you present. You have a lot of energy in your voice. It's very clear. There's no uhs and ers in between. You're an excellent speaker.
Thank you.
You make the listener excited. It's just your rhythm, everything about the way you talk or present is, I think, is really excellent model for what we all want to do. On the design, on the content side, I think it's excellent. On the design side, I think going along the lines of what Brent said, we try to get kids to think you should be able to read your slide from across the room, or you should be able to read what the slide says, you know, in half a second. And the problem here it's just a little difficult to read because it's, you know, it's too close to the background or there's too much going on in it. I know you're trying to be futuristic, but you know, I would try to make a measure of success. Can I read this quickly or can I read it from across the room?
Okay.
Letter spacing might help a little bit.
Yeah, letter
The
spacing
distance.
might help. Good point. Yeah. Okay.
I got one last critique. I almost forgot. I like how you didn't read off the slide.
Yes.
You basically spoke about what was on the slide, but you introduced it with words that didn't start with the Amaterasu.
Right.
I forget exactly what you said, but you kind of knew what the slide says, so you could speak about it and just use it as a reference point, which is usually what we suggest to people.
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah, the slide should be a summary of what you say. It should be the key words in what you say. Excellent. So, very, very good. Okay, so I think we're good for this session unless anyone has any other questions. Summarizing this session, yeah, we were very picky, but I think we're trying to lay the groundwork here for guidelines in not only teaching, but developing and presenting, selling. So a very useful session by my measure.
Yes, yes, I agree.
Okay. All right. Let's take a half an hour break and see you in half an hour. I can tell you, Julian, that I think we're going along so quickly that we won't need to meet tomorrow, and we're going to start to go into specific projects. So we'll talk about that a little bit in the next session. But
Okay.
I think the speed at which we're going is great. Okay. See you in half an hour, roughly.
See you.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
And hey, John, do you have like 5 minutes?
Oh, I need 5 minutes too.
Like, do
Okay.
you have 10 minutes? I'll get the second half.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
alright, you
I
first.
have a number of, hold on a second. I have a number of emergency calls here. Let me make
Mine's
sure.
not that urgent. I can actually postpone it. It was for the
Okay.
second half, but it's actually,
Okay.
it's nothing that urgent. So I will see you at 10:30. Sisha,
Okay.
take it away, and I'll be back.
Okay. Sisha,
Okay.
go ahead.
I will like ask the question at the end of the second session.
Oh, okay. Great.
Okay.
I have a couple emergency
Yeah.
calls here. Okay, good. See you in a while.
Sorry, just reminder. You need to hit the